Hello, everyone, and welcome to another 4D Vision. This time we are talking about relationships that bring rest. We'll see what the title is when this is released, but welcome. This is, I guess, a Valentine's special. We're recording on the 14th of Feb. Let me not go into a rant about what I think about Valentine's, but we love love. But oftentimes when we mention relationships, a lot of people automatically think romance. So I wanted to have this conversation with someone who I really admire, someone who just embodies wisdom and does it so gracefully. Look at you can't see her on screen yet. Embodies it so gracefully in a way that is conversational, in a way that still educates the audience. And I thought this will be a great person to have on. So I'm going to hand over to her to introduce herself. Over to you.
Hi, Pelumi. Hi, everyone who is watching and who will watch this. My name is Comfort Omofre, and I am many things. But I think I just like going with the terms coach, creator, storyteller, and counselor for now. Just basically summarizes everything up. Yes.
And as I put, you'll see the picture. I said he's given boss babe, but soft boss babe.
Please,
Like,
I need to take
no,
more relaxed pictures, please. I'm not always that serious in
no,
real
no,
life.
no. It's given boss babe with that feminine, like, yes, I can put it, but please don't come and stress me either.
Right,
But
right.
but yeah, so thank you so much for joining us today, Comfort.
Thank you for
And
having
let's
me.
just jump straight into it. I want you words. I want to know what your definition of relationships is.
Well, I think that relationship is a very, very broad word concerning the fact that, whoever we meet or, just basically share a kind of connection with, we can say that we have a relationship with this person. So I would say relationships are basically the connections that we have with people, over a period of time. Because if you meet somebody one day and you meet a stranger on the bus, you guys talk, and then you guys go your separate ways and never meet each other again, you can't say that it's a relationship. So there has to be that, presence of time. So, okay, this is the kind of connection that we've had over time, and that is why we can say that we have a relationship. I think that's just the way I would like to define it.
Sorry, guys. Can you see the ease in which she just drops such depth? Connections over time. That's the key thing. It's not just connection. And I think in this day and age with social media, with just, friendliness of people, you may think, "Ah, I just met this person once. I've made
Mhm.
this connection. They're now my friend. They're now this, they're now." So relational intelligence is very key in terms of
Mhm.
connections over
Okay.
time. And even just before we go to the next question, on that thing of time and connection, like what is a connection?
Mhm.
What exactly is a connection? And
Okay.
is yeah, let's start with that. What is a connection?
Okay, I do not want to use the word relate because I say don't use the word to define the word they're defining, right? But I'll say that connection is basically the way that we relate with the people around us, like what we share with them, and the basis of that sharing. You could have a relationship with your colleague at work, what you share with them, could be just work, which is the basis of the sharing, because you guys are in the same place of work. You have to speak to each other and relying on each other for certain things. But also you could take it a step further than that connection, that basis of work. You could actually become true friends, you could become lovers, and you could even become blended families if your parents happen to meet and fall in love.
Wow.
Right.
It sounds like a
So
K-drama.
yeah, so connection is basically what we share with people and the basis of that sharing. It's the same thing with friendships. We have friends that we are closer to, and the basis of the fact that we share so much with them is probably because, we are in a particular stage in life together where we understand each other. Say new moms becoming closer to each other because they can actually relate to their struggles, or new wives, young wives, finding solace in each other, because, two people who got married really young and all their peers are still single, they can't really relate, but this one person can actually relate when I'm talking about how marriage can be sometimes. So yeah, I'd say that connection is basically the things we share with people, and the basis of that sharing.
Amazing, amazing. So succinct. And in terms of those connections and like the health of relationships, what are signs of a healthy relationship or a healthy connection? Because as you said, with connections, it's what we share and the basis of which we share them. But you can have healthy connections and unhealthy
Definitely,
ones. And the reason I'm
definitely.
focusing on health and the signs of health is because we're in a generation where everyone's like red flag, red flag, red flag. But let's focus on the signs of a healthy relationship or connection. And can you share some of those with us?
I'd say when I think of healthy relationship, the first thing that comes to mind is peace. A place where you really feel at peace, where you feel like you can just be yourself, no need to pretend. You don't feel your, tempers rising or even your heart cutting when they are there or when you have to have anything to do with them. The thought of seeing them, the thought of being with them, the thought of just, staying in silence together, everything just gives you peace, because you trust them to know that, okay, this person, wants the best for me. This person is truly into the things that make me happy. And, I am also invested in their happiness and their well-being as well. Another thing that comes to mind when I think of healthy relationships is safety. And, when I say safety, I mean safety from, abuse, safety from unkindness, safety from malicious words, ill treatment. It's just basically you feel like with this person, you are safe enough to be vulnerable, safe enough to communicate your likes and dislikes, safe enough to just be with them and know that whatever I tell this person, it won't be used against me. I also, love to think of intimacy as a sign of healthy connections, right? Because we can't really be, when most people think of intimacy, they think about it in the physical sense, sex and all of those things. But, the truth is, true intimacy is beyond the physical. It's really emotional, it's psychological, and we can't really be intimate with people that we feel like we can't trust. So if we feel like we can trust someone, or if we, trust ourselves even enough to be able to trust this person, then intimacy can be established, right? And then it's important that when we trust these persons, they do not go on to betray that trust, so that the intimacy can continue. So then that brings in trust as well. In a healthy relationship, a healthy connection, there has to be trust for, things to thrive, for the relationship to thrive and just progress, right? And there's protection as well. You feel protected. You feel like, this person, like whatever happens, this person will have my back. Well, of course, not when you are the one with, being toxic and everything, but like basically, if the world is against me, if people don't believe me, there's a false accusation somewhere, if nobody else can trust me, this person will trust me. If I wake up one day and I have nowhere else to go, this person will take me in, right? If it's the end of the world and, I only have one call to make, this person will come through for me. So I think that when you put all of these things together, right, there are definitely ways that we can break them down into smaller parts, like communication, honesty, loyalty, and all those things. But I think that, at the foundation, at the core, these are the things that actually come together to make a beautiful, healthy connection.
That's so beautiful. And as you're speaking, and even as you got to the last point, I hope everyone had at least one person that came to mind. So you
Yeah, I
said
do too.
peace, you said safety, you said intimacy, trust, and protection. Those are like the 5 core things that make up a healthy relationship. And I love how you touched on those things because, again, going back to your original definition of connection over time, a lot of these things are revealed over time. You
Yes.
just get them in a moment like that. You can have
Mhm.
amazing communication with someone, but it's over time that peace, the stability of that peace is tested, the trust, the intimacy, the protection, and the safety are
Yeah.
revealed. So even on that note, you mentioned something about toxicity, right? And we've said that with relationships, or with relationships, is connection over time. And with time, you have different seasons, right? So how can you distinguish between a rough patch in your relationship and toxicity?
Well, I often tell people that, relationships will definitely go through ups and downs. And but one way to tell if it's just a rough patch that we're going to get over, and this person is deliberately trying to cause me harm, is in the actions and the surrounding circumstances. Most times the rough patches that relationships go through are external. Probably there is a change in the dynamics of a person's life, or even both your lives. Maybe someone just got a new job that requires them to put in more time and more effort, and they can't be there for you as much as they would like to be. Or maybe they have things going on in their own personal lives with other people. Maybe their nuclear family members or other friends, and all of those things are putting a constraint on their mental health, stressing them out. So they cannot be there for you. Sometimes they might even lash out at you, not because they're angry at you, but because they're humans and they just don't know how to control all the overwhelming emotions they're feeling in that moment. And when it comes to friendship, your friends can, get married, get a new job, move across continents, and of course all of those things will definitely put a strain on your relationship. So with this moment, it can feel as though they're not there for you as much as they used to be. The communication is dwindling, the attention is flickering, and you can start to think that, oh, maybe this person doesn't love me anymore. In situations like that, you can see you are going through a rough patch, or maybe their financial struggles, right? Let's say in a romantic relationships or even familiar relationships, because that's where we see, finance come to play a whole lot, right? Maybe you are this person that has always come through for them. Oh, we need this, we're sending it. Oh, we need that, you're sending it. But then something happens and your finances are not as good as they used to be. So you cannot be financially supportive as you used to be. Now they could take that to mean, oh, this person is so stingy, or like when they're not understanding, you will be like, this is not how I am. Like, why can't you try to be a little more understanding of me? Like, if I say I don't have to give, it's because I really don't have to give. So things like this can actually put strains on the relationship both ways. One person feels like they're not being understood. One person feels like you're no longer making as much effort as you used to make. So all these are external circumstances that can actually affect the quality of your relationship. Then it will now be considered to be a rough patch, which you guys know. Most times just sitting down, both parties willing to hear each other out, understand each other, put themselves in the place of the other person, and the second party willing to do better regardless of the circumstances, just helps resolve the situation eventually. So you realize that couple of weeks later, if you guys are both putting in the work, right, you get to a place where you can now say you survived that rough patch. Things are now smooth, right? And then sometimes it might not even be external circumstances, right? It could just be in a place where, maybe we've gotten so comfortable with each other. It feels like, there's no excitement there again. There's nothing really to discuss. We're starting to feel bored. We're starting to crave something more. We no longer feel the butterflies, and we can tell when these things happen in our relationship, and one party can start questioning everything. The other party can start feeling like, okay, is there any need to try? You might start talking to someone out there that just gives you those butterflies and all of those things, and then you need to reset your brain that way. So like, what am I doing, right? I can be reviving what I have with this special person and trying to make things work with them. So sometimes we might even be the cause of the rough patch in our relationships, but ultimately what differentiates rough patches from toxicity is the willingness of both parties to actually work on what's happening and resolve it. As long as nobody is being endangered, mentally, physically, emotionally, or psychologically, right? So you will notice that in all of these examples that I've given, nobody's being beaten, nobody's being told unkind words, nobody's being manipulated or gaslit, right? So it's just humans, going through human phases and then deciding that, okay, we can actually make this work together. But toxicity is a whole different level. Toxicity can be from one party, it can be from both parties. You get to see a whole lot of abuse, the psychological kind, the emotional kind, even sometimes the physical kind, right? And then there could also be sexual abuse and all of that. I think that toxicity is really tricky in a way that when people talk about abuse, it's just now that we're starting to see that it doesn't have to be all violent and aggressive, that sometimes it can be just subtle and can just be words or actions like silent treatments and all of those things, and it's still toxic because it makes the person feel devastated mentally, psychologically, like it really, really puts you down. You can feel like something is really, really wrong. You start feeling less of yourself, you lose yourself, you are sad and dejected all the time because of the way this person keeps treating you, or you are angry. For someone who really gets angry, you find yourself being unusually angry all the time, because sometimes when we are dealing with aggressive people in our relationships, whether it's friendships, family relationships, we tend to begin to mirror that aggression when it gets to a certain point in time, because it's like we're at our threshold and we are just thinking back to everything that's been happening over this period of time. And we keep getting angry, like, okay, it's getting to the point where I have to fight back. And you are losing yourself without even realizing it. So, and that is when it's just one person. There's some relationships that the two people in relationships are toxic. They are involved with this cycle of do me, I do you. You hurt me, I'll hurt you more, right? You do this, I'm going to strike you where it hurts the most. So when we realize that our relationship has devolved into that kind of situation, where our mental health, our life is at stake, then we can ask that relationship is toxic. And what you notice about toxic relationship is that even if one person is trying to make things work, the other person is doing all they can to sabotage things. It's like you're on a ship and the ship is sinking, there's a hole that's making the ship sink, and one person is both pouring the water away and trying to patch up the holes. Another person is creating more holes on another end of the ship. It's just going to keep sinking, right? So that's what happens in a toxic relationship. Someone is putting in the work, and someone could be putting in the work, and the other person is just sabotaging their efforts. Yeah.
The way you brought that down, I hope people had notebooks. The good thing is you can rewind and you can take notes as well. But what I really got out of that in terms of the difference between rough patch and toxicity is not only mindset, but willingness. And with rough patches, it can actually deepen intimacy in a relationship when both parties are willing to share an aspect of themselves and their emotions. And I love how you gave that disclaimer that these scenarios, if it's not in an abusive scenario, for instance, like when you're not in danger. So just in terms of just for safeguarding and guess how my mind works therapeutically as well, are there any places you can signpost people to in terms of helplines? I can also put it in the bio because I know like you have a counseling background, but any signposts, I know you're up in you're in a different country than I am, so what you are aware of as well. So yeah.
Well, if for people that might be watching this from Nigeria, the truth is that resources like this are not readily available to folks over there. And for the resources that are available, they are quite expensive, right? But I think that there are several NGOs starting up. They're just tailored to different kinds of mental health issues. We have people who, help sexual abuse victims recover. And then we have people who help domestically abused victims recover. And then we have people who are more general, like mental health aware NG. Then there's a brand that I recently spoke about on my feed, Psychbabble. I think they are just starting out, and right now they haven't given free counseling sessions. So that's definitely something that's worth looking into. Coming to the international space, we have BetterHelp. We have platforms like BetterHelp. I think that I have a couple of people who have, engaged their services, and they are really, really good, right? And then, of course, we have individual practitioners, professionals who have their own practices that you can just search for on the internet space, especially if you are in the UK, the US or Canada. It's so much easier to actually get, therapeutic help or counseling, because it's a field that people take seriously over here, right? So yeah, you can always just look this up. I'm still trying to get my hands on the pulse of the whole, should I say, mental health or psychological space over years, but I can be able to recommend better. In Nigeria, I struggled for like ever. It was just really hard to find people who were really good at what they do. I would even recommend some people, and people will come back to me and they'll be like, oh, that person was not it at all. So that would just discourage me from making further recommendations. And then I also offer counseling services, although I've put things on hold for officially on hold, because I've still been doing off the record counseling every day in my DMs every day.
This isn't, guys, don't be jumping off the record.
Don't jump my DMs. There's some that when I just see the message, I'll just say, okay, I'm going to come back to you later. I don't have the strength now. So yeah, I offer counseling services. It's been on hold for the past 4 months because of the whole relocation and settling in. But I'm resuming it in March again. I already got my first 2 clients on retainer for a month. So yeah, you can also come to me. Let's see if we can fix you into the schedule.
Brilliant. I'll put Comfort's details in terms of her Instagram just to follow, so when she does open those services, viewers can see, especially those who are based in Nigeria as well.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for those insights. So this will be the last question before we get into the final segment, which will put me in the hot seat. So I titled this initially Relational Rest, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there was this is based on this freebie I made in terms of 4D vision. And I always put in a note on rest, because I think when we make visions, when we're going for life, sometimes we can focus so much on the do that we forget to rest. And rest is such a key part, because burnout is very real. But the reason I brought the relational aspect is your environment includes those people in your life. It includes those relationships that can be life-giving, can also encourage your thriving, can be accountability, all of that. And I love how you said at the start, or one of the signs of a healthy relationship is peace. So what does relational rest mean to you? What does that thing of relationships that bring rest and peace to you mean?
I would say it's basically a place where you feel like you don't have to be anything other than what you already are, right? Of course, it doesn't, take away the need to work on yourself to become better for both yourself and the people who love you. But at the same time, you don't feel like there's no pressure to perform. There's no pressure to be anything. There's no pressure to do more than you can at that point in time. You know that however you present yourself, and this is not an excuse for people who choose to be rude, toxic and all those things, but however you present yourself in the way that you truly are, whole and all of those, and even sometimes imperfect and flawed, they still accept you. So when you are with people like that, people who make you feel like you can just be you, there's this sense of ease when you're operating with them. You don't feel the need to start to claim to be what you're not, or you don't feel the need to start being busy, right? You are just enough. And that helps you to just be and thrive and even, strive towards more. You would see some people who have relationships with people who don't just think they are enough, right? No matter what you're doing, you need to do more. Like, no, no, what's this? You can do better, you can do more. Like, so they can't rest, right? There's the pressure that comes with adulting itself, how we constantly feel like we need to, achieve more, build a legacy, build an empire, and all of those things. So it helps when the people around us, can tell us that, see, what you are doing right now is more than enough. Relax, chill. But then when you are with someone who keeps telling you, oh yeah, no, what's this? It's not good enough. It's not good enough. You feel even more pressure to, outperform and all of those things. And you just end up leading to a place where you break down, because we all have breaking points. Like you said, burnout is real. And then relational rest can also come in terms of our, emotions. Let's say when someone just basically gets you, when someone is all about, being there for you, you feel like you can actually take a break from everything that's going on in the world, go to the side and experience peace. Is the feeling of coming home after a long day. And that's why you see people describing their significant others or even very close platonic friends as home. I do have, a few people in my life that I think of as home, because I feel like no matter whatever is going on with me, no matter the troubles I'm facing, if I could just go to them and let them know that this is what is happening, right? They will just be there to comfort me, and you know what, just rest on my shoulders for now, be in my hands for now. It's going to be all right. You don't have to worry about anything else. So I think, when it comes to relational rest, that also comes to play. Then I think the last one I would like to touch on is rest from anxiety. When we are in relationships with people, sometimes it's filled with so many doubts, like, okay, can I trust this person? Is this person being loyal to me? Can I really confide in them about this thing? Won't they use it against me in the future? Can I open up to them about my past? Are they with someone else? Are they really being committed to me the way I'm committed to them? Their phone rings and you're thinking, oh, who is it they're talking to now? Could it be another lover? All of these kind of things. When we are in relationships that give us rest, we are free from these kinds of anxiety, because these people have proven over time that they are committed to us, that they do love us, they are loyal to what we share, and we can trust them. So when you're in a relationship where you're not anxious about these things, you're not anxious about where you stand, because they've made it clear to you over and over again that, I truly love you, and I'm truly here for you. It just helps you relax and rest. So again, if everything else in the world is going to dust, you know that at least with them, something is going right, and that's just enough. So I would say relational rest, and then again, when you think about being free from anxiety, it's really important, especially for people who have been through turbulent relationships in the past. So it's like, I can finally find a place where, I can rest, I'm at peace. I don't have to worry about all the things that used to worry me, in the past. So yeah, I would say when I think of relationships where we find rest, when I think of relationships that bring us peace, these are the things that come to mind.
Wow, the viewers may not have seen me getting teary at one point. You can tell
Oh,
I'm so sappy. It was the bit where you said, and it's something I hold to, like, as a definition, those relationships that their presence is like home, like it's just home. And yeah, sorry. Thank you so much. Um,
thank you too.
Thank you so much for the gems as well. So we are in the final segment, and I like to freestyle. Freestyling is something in my wheelhouse, and I've been part of this 30-day challenge with a group called Rule of Thirds. And today's the last day actually, and the prompt they gave us is Jaws of Life. Jaws
Joys of
of
life.
life.
Wow.
Not even joys or jaws, as in
Jaws. Okay, Jaws.
jaws.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
jaws of life. So let's see what comes out here. But I would love for you to give me prompts, and I'll weave them in and see what comes out. Yeah, my turn to be in the hot seat.
Okay, okay. Prompts relating to the theme, Jaws of Life.
No, it can even be related to our conversation. So
Oh,
the
okay.
word they've given us is jaws of life. So that will be the
Mhm.
general theme, but I'll go
Okay.
off the prompt.
Okay. Flowers.
Flowers, okay.
Bible. I'm just mentioning the things around me.
Flowers, book.
The Bible.
Mhm.
Lights.
Okay, flowers, book, Bible, light.
No,
I feel like
flowers,
you want to do
Bible, lights.
flowers, Bible, light. Okay,
Yes. And
okay.
TV.
And TV. Let's do this. Let's do this. So flowers,
Get
Bible, light,
this.
and TV. Okay. Hmm.
Mhm.
Often when we think of Jaws, we think of a horror movie of the shark coming to you and you just see the fin. We think of that TV scene and the theme tune saying da-da, 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 and the anxiety starts building in your veins and you think, I just need peace. I need a moment where life is like a field of flowers. I need a moment where this person will light my world and guide me to truth. Guide me to what the word of God says in the Bible, in that holy book that says there is a friend that sticks closer than a brother. There is one that will do life with you, that will connect, that will persevere through time, that will redefine the jaws of life from horror to romance, that will redefine it as a tool that saves your life, not holds it hostage. There will be one that will be willing to journey with you, to be that light, to be that reflection, to be the reason that you bloom, the reason that you think life is worth living, to be the reason why rough patches are just moments for deeper trust, for deeper safety, for moments of smiling, that you will now redefine that theme tune of da 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 as an opportunity to jump into their arms, to hug them tight, to know that you have home right beside you, that any shark coming for you, any fin of anxiety, anything attacking your peace cannot come by you anymore because you have your safety, your security, the blessing that God has given you to journey this life with. Thank
Ah,
you. Ah,
oh,
we've had
you're
to
good.
listen.
You're good. Wow.
We thank God.
Just on the
Thank you.
spot.
Just on the
Wow.
spot, but you
Wow,
know,
that's really amazing. That's really, really amazing. I mean, you ticked all the prompts in like the first 1 minute or so. That's really, really amazing. Wow.
because not gonna lie, those prompts challenged me. I was just like, how am I going to do this?
When we are challenged, right? We are even able to perform better. Rupi Kapush is
Yeah.
she's shaking. Who is Rupi? She should come and answer,
And
please.
and please, people, follow Comfort on her socials. So it's at Phoenix Black on Instagram, on Twitter. I believe even tonight, well, you're watching it afterwards, but she also does different things like Twitter Spaces, other conversations with great experts as well. So follow her stuff. Subscribe to her newsletter, which is in the link in her bio on Instagram. Wise words, always a word in season. So thank you so much, Comfort. Thank you everyone who is watching, and leave a comment below any questions you have. But yeah, keep seeing beauty in the process. Bye.